Hey everyone, welcome back to the range. My name is Matt, also known as the King of Armor Destruction, and currently being blinded by the sun. I apologize if you can't make out my face too well, but we have a body armor demo today. That's why you tuned in. This particular panel is from a friend of ours, Tactical Scorpion Gear. This is their newly released active shooter protection panel. This particular special rifle threat plate should excel at stopping M193 and M855. It is very thin, boys. 3 pounds, 11.3 ounces on this particular 10x12 flat model, or 1.681 kilograms. It is only 620,000 thick, or 15.9 millimeters. As I mentioned, this is a flat panel. Tactical Scorpion Gear has a wide variety of different shapes and sizes and curvatures across their entire product line. They have a single curve model available with this, as well as a multi-curve model. Before I forget to mention, in full transparency, Tactical Scorpion Gear sent me these plates to destroy with no strings attached. I do have an affiliate code from them. It is R.A.N.G.E, and it earns me a sales commission, and I think it gives you a 15% discount. And what I do with all those sales commissions is I usually put them back in the channel to help fund buying consumables such as ammunition, straps, and or clay for our clay briefcase. If this is the first time you're tuning into my channel, we do all of our body armor demos completely different than a majority of other people on YouTube. While I'm not an NIJ lab, I try to stick to some of those constants laid out in the NIJ 06 and newly published 07 standards, so you guys can take some solid data away from these tests. I never want to be the sole reason you make a purchase decision on armor. I want this to be kind of like a resource for your homework, and you should look at all the different factors, ask the manufacturer questions, ask to see manufacturing capabilities if you're making a large bid. Do your due diligence as best as you can so that when you're spending your hard-earned money, you have confidence in those plates. Since this is rifle armor, we shoot at 45 feet. We also shoot at 0 degrees because that represents worst case scenario. Any oblique angles only adds to the amount of material that the bullet has to penetrate and could give you false performance expectations. Now, normally in an NIJ test, they're only going to shoot sometimes 3, 6, and or 1 threat on one panel and then move on to another one. Being that we have limited funds over here, sometimes we have to put as many threats on a plate as possible. So again, worst case scenario. We use a giant clay briefcase filled with Roma Plastilina #1 clay. That acts as our compressible media to put the panel up against. Now, again, I'm using the same clay that the NIJ uses, but it's only about 40 degrees outside today. I've been heating it up in a little igloo down there, but you have to certify the clay at about 100 degrees, and you drop a ball and you have to measure the dimple. That's a lot of time, and because it's an open environment here, the second I take it out of the little igloo, the temperature would drop. So we're just looking at a representation of back face. If we see something stopped and it's like 60 millimeters in my clay, that would be overfailing in the NIJ's eyes. We also use a chronograph whenever possible, a Pro Chronopal Digital DLX, because we need to know the velocity of that round. M193 on the box of a lot of manufacturers' ammunition does not meet the specification of 3167 feet per second from a 20-inch barrel. So we need to know the velocity of that bullet so that if Tactical Scorpion Gear says it'll stop M193 at 3250 feet per second, we're actually getting that for velocity. Since this does employ a ceramic strike face per the NIJ, we've gone ahead and dropped each of our 10x12 panels on their face 2 times as a preconditioning test. After we've done that, we take our different ends of our plate and we apply pressure to listen for any cracks. We mark a DT indicating that we've done a drop test, and a TQ if the plate has passed our torque test and we don't hear any cracks. We did not do a drop test on our little side panel right here. From what we can tell, our ASP uses a tile array ceramic strike face, and it appears to extend almost all the way out to the edge. That's something you have to look for on a lot of plates that are advertising lighter than average specifications, is sometimes they may have a foam buffer ring that extends an inch or more from the edge. So your 10x12 plate has polyethylene is 10x12, but your ceramic strike face may only be 8 by 10 because the NIJ won't shoot any closer than 2 inches from the edge. So that's good that we still have a lightweight plate, but we're almost have edge-to-edge strike face. We put a spreadsheet here at the beginning and the end, and we kind of foreshadow all the threats that we're going to shoot at it. We list the velocities and the penetrations, and in the end we do a tear down to confirm that we do have, say, edge-to-edge strike face, and we get to look at what the ceramic looks like and polyethylene and how all that goes together to stop those bullets. Finally, I'd like to remind everyone that I am not an NIJ lab, so if you see a threat stopped or penetrated over here, you should always defer to the manufacturer to produce accredited NIJ lab results for that particular threat. And on the flip side, if you're the manufacturer and you see me stop, say, 7N6M going out of a 24-inch barrel here, you should send that off to a lab and have it added as a special rifle threat to your panel. Plate number 1 is strapped in and ready to rock. We've got a 22-inch TC compass in 5.56, so we're going to see maximum real-world velocity. Got a Yankee Hill Turbo T3 up front. Now, originally, Tactical Scorpion Gear rated this plate for M855A1, I think, right around 3,100 feet per second. I see they have since removed that qualification on this plate. Not sure if they did more internal testing, but I do know the original design had a slightly thinner ceramic tile that did not go all the way edge to edge, and then henceforth from this video on, all of the production panels have the new revised ceramic that goes edge to edge. So we have 2 rounds of 5.56. We have our M855, that is a 62 grain penetrator, lead core, hardened steel little cone. Then we have M193, 55 grain full metal jacket. That in the past has been hard against steel to stop. Polyethylene stops it. And on the flip side, our M855 is bad against steel, but good against polyethylene because of that penetrator. We may use plate number 2 for the A1. We will use the side plate for some A1. We're gonna go to the top of the plate. Left corner. And then this one is going to be dead, well, not dead center, on the leg of the P. Then our M855 will be on the second line, right in a row, why not? 1, 2, 3. I think that one was way too close to the edge. Right below on the third line. Nice. Well, I would say all those shots are fair hits. Now again, bear in mind, I do believe this plate is rated RF2, and that may be for the 5.56 threats and maybe the shot pattern of 3 hits per plate. We put 10 shots in this plate, M193 number 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5. Then M855, I thought there was only 4 rounds in there. 1, 2, 3, edge shot, 4 and 5. Place those bets in the comments below. Uh-oh, R.A.N.G.E. Interesting. We had a penetration from that last round of M193 and from the third round of M855. Now those are 2 inches from each other. This plate is pretty crunchy. We actually did stop that edge shot. That would be the most amount of back face because we delaminated our strike face from our backer, but we stopped it. M193 up here was stopped as well. Obviously the dimples from the M193 are pretty significant, but again, this is an SRT plate, not a level 3 or 3 plus or RF2 rated for M80 ball. That would probably destroy this particular plate, but interesting. Now the question is, how many more shots could I put on this plate before it is compromised, because it seems to be at its limit depending on what the threat is. Now I'll probably regret doing this on panel 1, but I want to shoot some 5.45 by 39, and what other than to do it in is our SSG 82. This has almost a 24-inch barrel. We have 2 variants of 5.45. We have our classic 7N6 52 grains with a B scale hardness steel core. Then we have 7N6M, same bullet design except the core has been hardened to C scale on the Rockwell. These were donated by my good buddy Andy Morris. Thank you to him. If you're actually looking for these, it's going to be late 91, 92. 92 is pretty much a guarantee. Bulgarian Circle 10 surplus. None of the Russian stuff that I've tested so far has been 7N6M. It's only been the Bulgarian post 92. (7N6) shot number 1 and 2, then the M version number 1 and 2. Now that's not a fair hit to that shot, but these two I would consider fair hits. R.A.N.G.E. We had a penetration on that 7N6 and that 7N6, as well as both shots of the M. Now maybe we take a couple follow-up shots on the fresh plate, but I think these ASP plates may have a 10 to 15 shot limitation depending on the threats. Now 9mm probably shoot this thing all day long. It wouldn't be a good special rifle threat test without some 7.62 by 3.9. We're going to do this in two different barrel lengths. We have a 10.5 inch and a 16. We have two very somewhat common loads. This is a standard 123 grain full metal jacket lead core bi-metal jacket. Then we have our mild steel core variant. Again, it's a B scale hardness, 123 grains as well. So we'll take a shot out of each from the 10.5 inch. Should be in the upper part of the plate. Nice. Nice. Now on to a new caliber. We've had this for a little while on the channel. This is 8.6 black. This particular caliber's claim to fame is its ultra fast twist rate, 1 and 3. Shoots 338 caliber bullets. And when we get to really long bullets that are subsonic, we're using that really fast twist rate to stabilize them. So I have two interesting threats here. I have a 250 grain solid brass spun round from Fort Scott Munitions and a 285 grain solid copper spun round from them. These are, like I said, solid brass and solid copper. They are very, very long. We have an 8.5 inch barrel with a Yankee Hill R9 on here. We'll take 4 shots total. All right, we have some non-fair hits here. Our 10.5 inch regular lead core, our 10.5 inch mild steel core, 16 inch lead core, 16 inch mild steel core. Then the 2 shots of the solid coppers right there. That's both not a fair hit. Then our solid brass rounds were a fair hit. I'm going to save the rest of this plate right down here for some reduced velocity M855A1 shots. Place those bets in the comments below. R.A.N.G.E. We have penetrations from the solid copper spun rounds, obviously because those are non-fair hits. Then the 16 inch mild steel core, as well as that shot over here of the brass round. But this one was stopped. There's a little bit of dimple there, but that's very interesting from that round in 8.6 black, likely because of how long it is, may not be able to degrade that projectile. I am curious if there is a velocity at which the plate will stop M855A1. So we're going to take some shots out of our 10.5 inch right here just to see what it will do. Easy enough here, folks. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I would say we shouldn't put any more hits on this plate. If it did stop these, maybe Tactical Scorpion Gear will have to send some off to figure out what the V50 rating is of M855A1. R.A.N.G.E, it looks like that 10.5-inch barrel may be its limit. We stopped 2 out of the 4, so it stopped the first one and then the third one. Not too shabby. We've got our little side panel put up, and at the request of Tactical Scorpion Gear, we're going to shoot one shot, center of mass, M855A1 from our longest barrel. Brought the 22-inch back out. Now I have 3 rounds here because, you know, I wouldn't be the king of armor destruction if we got a stoppage and then didn't know if the little panel could take more than one. Nice. Now this should be pretty easy to tell. Our first shot was right there, pretty much center of the plate, or very close to it. Shots number 2 and 3. Place those bets in the comments below. R.A.N.G.E. We didn't stop that second round. It poked its way through, but the first and third shot were stopped. Now we have tested side plates in the past and against 30 caliber threats and the likes for a level 4. It's a one hit and done. With the 5.56 threats, that same Ceradyne side plate, I do believe we got 3 shots out of. So for this being a lighter plate meant to be SRT, I think it did pretty well considering the velocity was near the maximum threshold. Paging Dr. Matt to surgery, paging Dr. Matt to surgery. Now for a fan favorite, the tear down. This is where we confirm any penetrations or any that we missed, and we validate any claims that the manufacturer has with edge-to-edge strike face or any of the likes. So we had no surprise penetrations on plate number 1. This is our polyethylene backer, ultra high molecular weight. There doesn't appear to be any branding on here, so not sure where they sourced that from. I measured this right around 297 thousandths thick. I like that we have this edge foam protected on here. This protects the strike face on the outer perimeter against any strikes. This foam is not the foam cheat ring that a lot of companies use. That, if there is one, will be on this side. It does appear to be laminated, although we have separated it a little bit, but we can't thumb through it like a book. This was the edge shot of M855. Fairly impressive. Now, here is our strike face. What's amazing is there's quite a bit of it left. We're using our hexagon tiles, silicon carbide, I would assume. And as you can see, we have very close to edge per tiles there. There's maybe an 1/8 of an inch foam there. We have a little bit of it up here in the corners to make up for those, but very impressive. That's something that I would like to see a lot of manufacturers do, is edge to edge, although again, that's up to you for your mission to make that call, lessening the protection and lightening the weight. I measured our tiles right around 219 thousandths thick. Panel number 2 is of the same construction. I wonder if this M855A1 penetrated over here because of how much damage our 8.6 black round did to that panel right there. Again, the penetrations were those 2 rounds of M855A1 from the 16-inch, our mild steel core 16-inch, the copper 8.6 blacks because those were unfair hits, and then that brass right there. Otherwise, very much the same construction. Polyethylene is still fairly rigid, so that's a good thing. I don't know if they have a press or an autoclave, but the more we can keep this layer together, the better it will do at containing threats. I do detect a little bit of drop face foam and a laminating layer of some kind on the front there. You can see that cross hatch pattern there. But I would like to see personally whatever that is on the front side too, kind of like they did on the level 3 plus extreme. Although if you want that kind of performance, that's why that plate exists. Pretty darn impressive. And finally, here is the side plate. You can see some of that drop face foam there, probably a 1/16 of an inch thick, if that, not very thick. And then again, the only penetrations were that second shot. Well, folks, there you have it. I destroyed another one. I would say our ASP plate fell right in line with the expectations that Tactical Scorpion Gear set forth. I would like to see them possibly try to figure out how we could stop our full spec Velocity M855A1 from this panel, but then again, that's why they have their actual level 3 plus extreme plate. I was trying to think of a good application for this plate besides, you know, an ultra low visibility carrier where you don't need, you know, full rifle protection like M80 Ball. And I thought myself this would be a good backpack panel, especially the flat one. It's only right around 3.5 to 4 pounds, so we're not going to take a huge weight hit. But on the flip side, most of the backpack panels that are out there only stop pistol rounds. So this particular plate would be good in a backpack where we're stopping rifle threats, again, in an active shooter environment for pretty much all of our basic threats that you might encounter in the continental United States. Overall, this plate had good construction. I like that we have almost complete edge to edge for a strike face. Our polyethylene appears to be pressed or done in an autoclave with enough heat that our layers are not separating. I would like to see better adhesion between our strike face and our backer, but normally to make that happen is going to add thickness because we need some kind of laminating layer to make that happen. With all that being said, it's time for me to get the heck out of here, but at the end of all my videos, I take a moment to thank all those who help make these possible because there's a lot that goes into them. Number one is my Patreon subscribe star and YouTube channel members. I have a link tree in the description below, various different ways to contact me or support me through affiliate links or discount codes, which earn me a sales commission. As I mentioned, I have one for Tactical Scorpion Gear that is R.A.N.G.E. I believe it saves you 15%, and then I think the kickback is like 5% to me. And what I do with that is I put it right back in the channel by buying straps and clay and wood to make fixtures and anything else that I need to make that happen. Number two is Tactical Scorpion Gear, again, in full transparency, send us those ASP panels to do with as we please, with no strings attached. And of course, number three is you all for watching. Until next time, I'll catch you at the range.